Hey everyone, what's up? What's going on? I hope you guys had a happy holiday. We're going to be reviewing Mary Poppins Returns this week, but first, we have a brand new announcement, and then we'll get right into the episode. So I'm happy to announce our first live show of the new year. We've been invited to perform at the 2019 Everything is Awesome Headstrong Foundation Comedy Festival. This festival is put on by our friend Kevin Gallagher over at the Everything is Awesome podcast. This entire festival is organized to raise money for the Headstrong Foundation, which offers financial, residential, and emotional support to families that have been affected by cancer. If you'd like to read more about their organization, we'll have a link on all of our social media outlets to their website and also where you can donate for the festival. Again, I highly recommend you guys come out to the festival. It's going to be at 4 different venues. There's going to be over 20 podcasts and over 20 comedians performing there. The festival is free to enter. Obviously, donations are encouraged. It's going to be on Sunday, January 27th, 2019. I think most of the venues are on South Street in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Our episode is going to be at South Street Cinema on South Street at 3 p.m. And I hope to see you guys there. Besides that, once again, check out our Oscar prediction video series, Goldfingers, because of our ongoing problems with our audio interface. Mike just told me that the 3rd episode's release is going to be a little delayed, so stay tuned for that. Also, don't miss our upcoming episodes. Next week, we're going to be reviewing The Favorite with Scout Tafoya of RogerEbert.com and so many other things. Tune in for that one. And the week after that, we're going to be reviewing Roma with Matt Whittle and Chris Lipinski. I think I just messed up his last name again. You can listen to me mess it up on the episode, but they're both from the band Seagulls. But yeah, this intro's gone on long enough. Finally, here's our review of Mary Poppins Returns. Enjoy. Hi, I'm Joe.
And I'm Mike.
And you're listening to How Many Fingers Am I Holding Up? The podcast. And this week we'll be reviewing Mary Poppins Returns.
Mary Poppins, as I live and breathe.
Jesus Christ. Hey everyone, and welcome to How Many Fingers Am I Holding Up? Featuring 2 guys getting pissed and reviewing movies in a weekly podcast form. I'm pissed too.
I'm fucking pissed. Thank you to Gabby Bisconti on Facebook for that synonym suggestion. But you can suggest yours on Instagram or Facebook or any of those if you've got something for us.
Wow, there's so many ways you could get in contact with us.
A multitude of ways. You can find all those links on HowManyFingersPodcast.com.
Podcat.
Can you tell that we're trying to rush through this episode? We got a marathon going on today. We got our normal 3 episodes, but then we're going out tonight with some boys. We're trying to get it all done before a stampede of boys enter this apartment.
Yeah, we've had episodes like that in the past where, like, Mike and I are doing the fine balance of like a social life and running a weekly podcast right now, and like we've had too many times where like we'll be hosting like a party or something, and then people just start coming in as we're like finishing up an episode, and if you want to listen to what that sounds like, what was the one?
The Nice Guys.
Oh, the Nice Guys. I was about to call it the Other Guys.
We do that all the time.
But yeah. I'm sure it happened in another episode too. People just get here hours earlier, and I don't know. We've got today down to a science.
Yes.
Even though we're off to a late start, we're not going to rush through this, but it's going to be condensed.
Yeah.
Definitely. But yeah, this week we're drinking
Big Moose. That's a big moose.
Hey fellas, that's a big moose. Sarnax. I thought it was Sarnak. It's
Sarlax.
Saranac or Sarnac. Big Moose Winter Ale. And I don't know. We didn't have anything festive. You're listening to this after Christmas, right?
Yeah, this will be this should be December 27th when this comes out.
Well, I hope you had a Merry Christmas. And I'll
Green Book was kind of our Christmas episode.
It was a Christmas movie. Woo! That's happy.
It's got a little bite to it. Savory needs her car keys.
Yeah, go get them. That's fine.
Say hello to Savory, everybody.
Hi. But yeah. How about that IMDb description, Mike?
Oh, I would be delighted to give it to you, Joe. And thank you so much for asking. Decades after her original visit, the magical nanny returns to help the Banks siblings and Michael's children through a difficult time in their lives.
It's not wrong.
No.
Also, this plot is, can the family find a piece of paper? And that's a 2-hour movie. 2 hours and 10 minutes, I think. I think the original was even longer.
I actually don't mind that part of the plot. It's the other things. We'll get into it.
Well, yeah. No. I mean, there's just digressions that happen during this very, very faint plot.
This movie is the reason people hate musicals.
No, exactly.
Time to sing for no reason.
But Mary Poppins Returns is directed by Rob Marshall. Rob Marshall has previously directed Chicago, Memoirs of a Geisha, 9, Pirates of the Caribbean, On Stranger Tides, and Into the Woods. The screenplay is by David Magee, I don't know, who has previously written Finding Neverland, Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day, and Life of Pi. The screen story was written by the director, Rob Marshall, the screenwriter, David Magee, and John DeLuca, who I was kind of confused when I was looking at his profile on IMDb because he has no previous writing credits. He's just literally been like the choreographer.
Yeah, Rob Marshall choreographs his own films, but his co-choreographer has always been John DeLuca, or John... Which is it? I'm not reading it. I'm just...
Oh, it's John DeLuca. Yes.
It is John. Oh, I know someone named John DeLuca.
Yeah. So do...
Been trying to get him on this podcast.
Oh, really? I know somebody. I know Rob DeLuca. Anyway, so I thought that was interesting, and it also explains a lot about this movie, that, like, the choreographer is kind of, like, involved in the writing process. Or the story, which is... We'll get into it. But the film stars Emily Blunt, Lin-Manuel Miranda, Ben Whishaw, Emily Mortimer, Julie Walters, Dick Van Dyke, Angela Lansbury, Colin Firth, and Meryl Streep. Mary Poppins Returns has received 4 Golden Globe nominations. I am just tongue-tied today. Those 4 Golden Globes being Best Motion Picture for musical or comedy. It's high praise. And then Lin-Manuel Miranda and Emily Blunt have both received Best Actor and Best Actress nominations for musical or comedy. And Mar Shaiman has received a nomination for Best Original Score. I just have one more note in here. This is like, I have a lengthy cutout of some sort of... I think it was just from Wikipedia. I don't even think it was from an article. But it said, development on the sequel to Mary Poppins had long been gestating in development hell since the release of the 1964 film. Walt Disney attempted to produce a sequel a year subsequent to the film's release, but was rejected by author P.L. Travers, who had openly dismissed Disney's film adaptation. And it goes on to explain that they tried again to make a sequel in the late 1980s. And once again, that was like shut down by like the original author because they still wanted to base it off, because I think Mary Poppins is like a series of books.
8 books by P.L. Travers, yeah.
And then
and I think the second one is just called Mary Poppins Comes Back. Which this is not based on, actually.
But I think they wanted to have like Julie Andrews reprise her role, and then I think they like tried it again in I don't know. They tried to do a sequel. I should have just read it like twice, and both times I think it was like shut down by the original author, and then finally they got the ball rolling in like 2015, and because she died.
Well,
And
they said even because I was listening to the Director's Cut podcast with Rob Marshall and Ron Howard was the one interviewing him.
Right.
We were talking about this where like the Travers estate was incredibly protective of the rights to his characters, and I guess because they knew that he was turning all these sequels down too, so they were trying to honor his wishes. And they said the only reason that they sort of opened the door for that is where like Disney had been trying to make this happen the whole time, and Disney came to Rob Marshall because he had been talking to them about, I'm sort of interested in this. They're like, the estate would be open to a sequel if you're the one that directs it. So I guess because of his pedigree with Chicago and being a real musical guy, like he started in the theater as a choreographer and a dancer.
Yeah, but she's also dead.
Right.
And
But after she died, the estate still wasn't, they weren't like, now that she's dead, let's cash in on that money.
No.
They were still being very protective of it, and they wouldn't let it happen with anyone but Rob Marshall.
But she didn't even like the original movie. She like completely dismissed it. Like she was not a fan of it.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I feel like I do think there is an element of that kind of like we were talking about John Denver all the time, like last year, where it's kind of like, I don't know, Daddy's dead, let's cash in, baby. And it's like in like 4 different movies. Like I think the estate is like, I don't know, maybe they've run out of that Mary Poppins literature money, and now they're looking to get a payday. And boy, if you're gonna get a payday, get one from Disney.
Yeah,
they've got a lot of money. But yeah, no, I'm sure it's somewhere in the middle between my very cynical and the kind of PR navigated response that Rob Marshall had when being interviewed. But yeah, to catch you guys up, if you don't totally know what we're talking about or don't totally know the gist or what this movie is, it's like a sequel that's like almost a remake. It's definitely technically a remake. The structure is really similar.
Yeah.
It's it's episodic. It has different sections and different musical numbers. It's almost a replica from like set piece to set piece.
Oh yeah. There's beats that they wanted to hit, and they hit them, but they didn't do anything really new with them in this. I think we're gonna make a lot of comparisons throughout this episode to The Force Awakens.
Oh yeah,
because again, the same thing. It's a sequel, but I mean, you could definitely argue that The Force Awakens is kind of
a remake,
and bring this up for a new generation. I think the difference is that The Force Awakens does bring some new things to the table. It does manage to improve on what the original was and make a movie that works in the modern era. Whereas I feel like this, I have a hard time watching this and being like, oh, like kids from today who play like Fortnite and shit are going to be like, oh, Mary Poppins dancing with animated kids. Like, it just kind of seems like masturbatory fun for like 70-year-olds, I guess. Like, I don't know what the real Mary Poppins like fandom audience is. I mean, my theater was packed when I went to see it.
Right.
We're reviewing this on opening week because it opened on Wednesday, not on a Friday/Thursday like the movies normally do.
I don't know. Yeah, again, their decision to remake this and kind of call it a sequel, or kind of, there are sequel elements. Obviously, the kids are older or whatever, and it's Mary Poppins Returns. Kind of. Besides that, there's not a whole lot that's sequel-esque about this, and I don't know. That decision to me is just so cynical and like just so. And it's also boring. Like, I think you were telling me like you were tired when you watched it. It's been
a long week.
You don't even have to be tired during this movie. Like, I wasn't tired when I watched it, but I was fighting sleep at every number. I was just like, oh my God. And I don't know. But like also, I'm sure this movie was focus group from a fucking inch of its life, Like, that's what people want. It's like you said, like, is this a kids movie? Like, I know it's a 1960s kids movie, but those people are fucking 40 and 50-year-olds now, and it's weird.
Yeah, that was definitely how I felt about all of this. Where, like, they tried to, like, Rob Marshall in the Director's Cut podcast episode, he was interviewed by Ron Howard, and he's talking about like how he has this intense love for Mary Poppins, and he's like, everybody that I hired to be on board, like Ben Wishaw's like, I wanted to be an actor because of Mary Poppins, and they get all these people involved who are just super invested in that movie, and maybe they don't have enough distance from it because everything that they do is kind of like, well, we have to stay true to the original, and they end up just copying the original.
You know what?
They don't do anything with it to make it new, and it's like, yeah, like the movie from the 60s, like, it's great in the 60s because it is like a technical marvel at that time. Like there's very few movies that have really done well the like 2D animation with live action, and like the two biggest examples are Mary Poppins and Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Right.
And maybe like what's that movie, Enchanted, but that's not really like a notable example.
Right.
There wasn't huge animation sequences in that. So like I was waiting for them to do something that was going to like blow me away in like the modern era. Yeah. And I mean, the film definitely looks good, but there's also some parts that really look goofy. And then there's, like the 2D animation thing is like, it's pretty cool for me as someone who like understands how films are made. Yes. But like a 6-year-old is not watching this being like, wow, like, how did they get the cartoon characters with live action people? Like, I think they just accept it at face value. And I think also like the original Mary Poppins, I have not seen it literally since I was a kid, and I didn't like it as a kid. It just was not for me. Obviously I think that the songs are classic, but it was a lot of just like spectacle and dancing, and it's not really the type of musical that I'm a big fan of. I don't remember there being a whole lot of interesting plot in the first one. It was just kind of like...
It was even thinner than Family Has to Find the Piece of Paper. It was just,
But that was fine in the 60s, I think, because, again, it's this huge technical spectacle and, incredible feat that, like, it must have been magic to watch that in the theaters, when they're doing things that had just never been done before. Now when we have, like, all these 3D special effects movies all the time, like, if you're not going to blow our socks off in that way, then, like, you've got to have the plot be a little bit deeper than that. Right. And then they definitely dig a little bit deeper than the original, but I don't know. I was expecting... I just hate when people try to remake something or make, like, a movie version of something and they don't, like... play into the elements that make movies great. Right. I bring up this example all the time. I think the Simpsons movie is a really great example of something that like they didn't just make like an hour-long Simpsons episode. They said, what can we do if we're going to make a movie featuring the Simpsons character? And it ends up being a great animated movie, in my opinion. Right. I know a lot of people trash that, but I'll defend that movie till I die. And I think this is an example of that, where they took something from the 60s, and rather than saying, what can we do to make Mary Poppins work now? They just said, what did they do in the 60s one? And we'll just do that beat for beat. Right. Number for number. Right.
It has such like a star-studded cast, and I love like so many of these people.
And they are really talented in this. I honestly like if you didn't have like Olivia Colman in The Favorite, like I would be voting for Emily Blunt for Best Actress this year. Yeah. I think she's incredible in this.
She is.
I think she's better than the original, honestly. Yeah. I mean, I'm coming to this with modern sensibilities and whatnot, but I mean, I think she's got a beautiful voice. I think she's got such incredible facial control and body control. And a lot of it is like the sort of choreography of, acting. Even when she's not dancing, everything is so controlled. Like she puts the, the hat on the rack here, and then she buttons her blouse up here, and like everything just creates this full, complete character that is in total control at all times and sassy, and just I totally believed that this was Mary Poppins, even if she doesn't totally, look like an exact replica of Julie Andrews. Right.
I love her little like, how dare you kind of like looks like I'm voicing what her face looks like, but she doesn't even need to say anything. She's just like these like pitch perfect like reaction shots and everything. But yeah, no, the what I was talking about with the cast and everything, I love so many elements. Like I love the look of this too, but when you were talking about this was just like a new thought. Like I couldn't get the idea of kind of like high school theater out of my head sometimes too.
That's what lin-manuel does to you.
Oh my god, jeez.
He looks like a really good high school theater actor.
Yeah. Oh no. Immortal Technique needs to throw him in the fucking trash can again.
I don't know. I don't want to bash lin-manuel.
But when you were talking and everything, it kind of formulated in my head like the entire time I couldn't sink my teeth into exactly what this looked like, but this looks like kind of a revival of a old Broadway show that is back on Broadway, and it's got like a star-studded cast. Like, that's what this looked like, and it shouldn't have been that because it's a movie. I don't know. It's a different medium.
They definitely could have dug deeper. So like if we start with like, I think there's just like little minute errors that are made throughout this whole movie. I was telling Joe that like there's a lot to love about this movie, but there's so much more to hate about this movie. I feel conflicted about a lot of stuff, you know. But like the first scene, I think, is among the worst in the movie, and I think they start off this movie the completely wrong way. Yeah. So you start off with this musical number with lin-manuel, who I think understands theater, but I don't think he's necessarily the best man for this job. Like he has a voice that's like technically correct. He's singing on pitch. I'm assuming they're not doing massive auto-tune correction for him. He was a Broadway, you know, star. Right. But I think maybe more of his expertise lies in how to create a musical than rather to be the star of someone else's musical.
Oh, definitely.
And I think also part of the problem is the writing. I think the character of Jack is just kind of one-dimensional. Like, I'm just a happy guy who does his work all the time. And it's kind of just ripping off Dick Van Dyke from the original, too, and they just changed the occupation. Right. Even though he's a character from the original. They're like, oh, he's not a chimney sweep anymore. He's a Leary. Right. We'll just replace these working-class occupations of dirty, greasy guys with one another. Yeah. But, like, I think the song's weak. It's not interesting or fun. It's just him walking around lighting lamps. But it's also, like, it's representative of the way the other songs in this movie are, where like he's technically singing about what's happening, but it's just not adding anything to the movie. Like it's just like kind of like weak rhymes, like kind of like rhyme book rhymes for a lot of the lines.
They're introducing us to like, I know what they're trying to do. Like they're introducing us to like, ooh, this lovely kind of like 1930s like set in everything is this London? Yeah. Right? Yeah.
Like it's London, the lovely London sky.
Yes.
But it's weird because we're coming to this like in like Depression era London, or what do they call it? Like the Great something. They had a name for it in the titles of this.
Slump, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. It just, he got, like, you can see he has a sense of wonder, but like the audience isn't getting a sense of wonder. Yeah. Like we're just watching him perform a task in front of, like, again, like some pretty great visuals of this set and everything.
But like the music doesn't fit the set. Like it's this like dark, greasy, foggy like London in like the early morning, and people are like waiting in like a food line and stuff like that. And I don't know if that's intentional, that like juxtaposition of like, oh, the lovely London sky as I'm driving through, like people waiting for a fucking apple from, you know, like handouts and shit, because they can't afford to buy their own food because we're in like a worldwide recession at this point. Like I wasn't a fan of that. I think it's a boring song. I think Lin-Manuel technically knows how to sing, but I don't think he has a voice that I want to listen to. Like I don't hear him sing and go, wow, that's great. Even though he sounds like he's doing an impression of a Broadway singer at times. And again, I know part of his strength lies in that he's this kind of like Broadway rapper and stuff like that. And I'm sure he's been great. I haven't seen Hamilton or In the Heights, and I'm sure he's fine in those. You know, I've heard his voice in In the Heights. He definitely fits that character better because it has to do with his like actual like upbringing and whatnot. Yeah.
And again, I'm not super familiar again with the original Mary Poppins. It has, I don't even know if I saw it as a kid. I've seen it at some point, and then I've seen bits and pieces since.
Yeah, and we all know the music.
But I know Dick Van Dyke has like a terrible Cockney accent. You know,
Lin-Manuel's even worse.
See, I think he's just a little better, but it's almost worse because we're so familiar with his voice that it is just whatever he's putting on top of like his just natural voice is just like this very thin sheet of kind of like Cockney, but like it's just that fucking Hamilton voice is like illuminating through. Like at any point he could just be like, I'm not gonna miss my shot, you know. Like,
he does sort of rap at one point in the tent sequence.
Oh, if you pay for Lin-Manuel, you better get your fucking rap in. Which is so weird. I hated that part. There's such a weird blend. Like, again, they can't. It's been 60 years. We can start to introduce new elements or whatever. to story writing with this, but they didn't, is what I'm trying to say. But yet they're putting in all these like odd little touches of kind of like modern, like again, like he does like a kind of like small rap, and then a scene that we've been laughing about is during a fucking like, I'll get into like some of these songs too, man, but there's just like, they're walking home from like a main plot point and it's dark out, therefore we need a fucking 8 to 10 minute like song about how we gotta like light the lamps because it's dark out. And it just goes into a gigantic dance number, and there's parkour, there's 1930s BMX biking. They have pegs and like Depression era bikes,
like they're the actual bikes, but you can tell that they put like thicker like BMX tires on there, because you can't be doing those tricks on like the thin little rubber of an actual Leary bike from the 1930s. It's so goofy looking, and like I was in the Director's Cut podcast, he's talking about like how he like Ron Howard actually calls it like, oh, like I really liked the BMX bikes in the dance. And I was like, I know I'm not the only one who saw that, and was like, not only like do these tires and these bikes resemble like BMX, they're going up like ramps that like I don't think exist anywhere in London.
Right.
Like they're just actual BMX ramps just made out of stone, and they pretend that they're part of some like monument or statue or whatever. But like just the actual stance that the people have while they're riding the bikes, it's so modern. I felt like I was watching like Dave Mira's Mary Poppins Returns or some shit. Like they clearly hired actual BMX riders. And like I know that part of that is like, I mean, who are you going to hire that's a professional bike rider for stunts that, you know, is familiar with 1930s like bicycles, you know. If you're a professional stunt rider on a bicycle, you're riding mongooses and shit like that.
Right, yeah.
But it's fucking goofy. It's so goofy looking.
All I could think of was like, is like the choreographer's niece, like a BMX rider, and it's just like, if only there was some way to bring Broadway and BMXing together, or just like, Gerald, you haven't had a job in like 5 years. Like, I think my BMX bike, and he's like, okay, I'll do his dad a favor and I'll hire him and his friends to do BMX in our new Mary Poppins movie. I was just like bending my mind trying to figure out what the thought process was. I mean,
Rob Marshall literally called it BMX parkour. I don't know that you need the parkour modifier. I mean, I think just BMX.
There were actual dudes just also doing
just jumping over
modern
stuff.
Parkour. Yeah,
parkour. I'm conflicted on that scene because I think it's in what is a pretty weak selection of songs. I think that's the best song that they have. Like that's I was like kind of singing that song on like the way home. It's the only one that kind of gets stuck in your head. Like I can't even remember any of Mary Poppins' big numbers. As great as I think Emily Blunt is, just the actual melodies. Like there's so many classics in the original. As much as I'm not really a fan of it, like supercalifragilistic, like a teaspoon of whatever makes
spoonful of medicine
makes the go down. Chimney Chimaroo.
Yes.
The Tuppence Spurt. Like there's just a bunch of classics in that song. Like every one is pretty much a hit, and there's so few good songs in this. I think the music is actually good in the Trip the Light Fantastic song. That's the lamp song.
Oh, okay.
And I like that title too, because that's like a term for like dancing, to say like we're gonna trip the light fantastic, and they're lighting lamps and stuff. It's clever. It's kind of cool. It works. And like it is an actual, apart from like the BMX parts, like them kind of dancing around the lamp poles, it's like reminiscent of, you know, Singing in the Rain, but also like the song, the Chimney Sweep song from the original. So I'm kind of okay with that. You know, if you're going to have at least one, you know, that's fine. But then they're all just kind of replicas of the original in some way.
Yeah. And my biggest problem with these songs too is like, I don't know if you listen closely to like a spoonful of medicine or a spoonful of sugar makes medicine go down, and all of these other songs, like they were like always imparting these like important lessons and messages. And like during these songs, you would also see like character development and everything. But in this movie, it's like a bowl gets chipped, and then we like digress into a fucking 25-minute long like the bowl fixing song, you know. And I was like, what the fuck is this movie? Like I understood that they needed to go into 2D land, but like why were we fixing a bowl and what did that mean totally?
Yeah,
and
like
then,
they had like a very thin sort of explanation for it, which was like, oh, we can sell the bowl to save the house or whatever because it's supposed to be priceless.
Then they just like, they don't fix the bowl while they're there, and then they take it to Meryl Streep.
And it's not worth anything.
Yeah, and it's not worth anything, and we never even see it fixed.
Yeah.
It was just like, what?
It's really funny because in I hate to keep bringing this up, but there's just so many great insights when I listen to these episodes. But Rob Marshall was talking about how he was like, you know, like one of my biggest like concerns that I really wanted to avoid. And he's like, you know, we went through this whole process of like, we wrote out the story and like the outline for the story. And he's like, and then we would kind of look at it and be like, well, where could a song fit in that would like make sense? Because he's like, you know, he's like, the worst thing is like when you're watching a musical and you're just kind of like, oh God, no, don't start singing. Why are you singing? But that's what this fucking movie is.
You don't say, Rob. You don't say.
And he's like, oh, I'm so happy we're able to avoid that. And I was like, you didn't. Like, that's all these musical numbers are, is like, just, oh, all right, like, I guess it's time for whatever. We have this discussion whenever we talk about musicals. Like, there definitely is a right way for a musical song to work. And even if, like, the song sort of comes out of nowhere, it's kind of like you're saying, like, there's character progression in the song. And I think the best way to do it is, like, to fully commit to being a movie musical and have plot points that take place. And, like, not just, oh, does it make sense for them to start singing here? Like, this movie is really just like set pieces. They go from set piece to set piece, and they're big and grand and spectacular, but the plot points all happen in between. So, like, you're kind of, like, falling asleep during both of them. Like, you know, there's nothing important going on during the set pieces, so you're trying to fall asleep. Right. And then there's no spectacle during the plot points, so you're sort of trying to fall asleep during those pieces as well. It's just... there's a way to make a movie musical work. Plenty have done it. Like, I think a good example is like Sweeney Todd is a pretty good movie musical. Yeah. I mean, obviously it's based on the original Broadway production of it, but I think like the songs that happen there, you know, even if they sort of, you know, every song at first feels like it's coming out of nowhere. You're always just kind of like, why the fuck are you singing?
Blindsided by it, yeah.
But if the song can provide information through it, then it always feels like warranted. You know, and there's so many times where like something like that will happen in Sweeney Todd. Like they have the revelation in Sweeney Todd about, oh, like we can like make pies out of people that you kill while you're shaving them in a song through the course of a song. It's a whole that's the entire crux of that movie is that whole sort of conceit. And yeah, this movie just does none of that. It's just, here's this big cool set piece, and that's cool. That's fine. But like, I don't know. Some of the songs have to mean something. They have to reveal something. You know, like I think the one song that really bothers me is like the one that Ben Whishaw sings in like the attic, because that definitely just like it's like so sort of sullen and like. They're trying to like make it real. It almost feels like they might have been using the real takes from while they were filming it, like rather than doing ADR in the studio. Like it definitely has that effect of like, oh no, God, please don't start singing. And then he's singing, like sort of half singing, and he's just not like revealing anything. It's just kind of this sad, boring song. And he's not revealing anything new about. Like he's just kind of expressing this emotion. And those are kind of the worst movie or just musical songs when it's like plot point, idea of an emotion. Okay, let's just sing about this emotion. You know, like you need to have something in there. Otherwise, it's like, why are the people fucking singing?
I don't really remember any of the songs. None of them stuck with me. Besides, I did have a pretty positive reaction to the final number, the Nowhere to Go But Up. I did like that. And again, I kind of listened to it again after the movie, and there was nothing really special about the song. But I think it was just something about the combination of like the original song and the set piece, and you know, a remnant of some sort of emotion from like Ben Whishaw that wasn't kind of him in the attic or him being like, it turns out the kids have been teaching me the whole time. You know, like just.
Did you not like his performance in this?
I do, but I, again, like everyone, he's kind of stunted by what he's given to work with, kind of. And then
I thought he was actually really good in this. What he's given to work with. Like, because I think like the one scene that really stuck out for me, like I said, there's really high points to this movie and there's really low points. I think a high point, especially from his performance, is when he like they all come back from the bank and the kids have almost lost him his job, and he starts like freaking out on them, and everyone's kind of quiet, and it goes from this like anger to him just kind of like retreating and sinking in on himself on the chair, and he's just kind of like, you know, talking about like, I can't do this on my own, I'm going to lose the house, there's no way we can save it, and he just kind of says at one point like, haven't we lost enough already, and sort of starts crying. And it felt like a really real, honest performance from him in a kind of like pretty weak script.
Oh,
like,
no, definitely. Yeah,
I can even kind of get behind the direction in that scene too. Like they have a nice choice of just completely cutting out the music. There's not even really a whole lot of background effects. It's just everyone in dead silence listening to Ben Whishaw sort of collapse in on himself.
Definitely.
And it works.
Yeah. He's definitely the emotional core of this movie. I don't feel anything for these kids. They're not the best actors, but they're not the worst, kind of. They're just kind of doing it.
He hired real kids. He didn't hire showbiz kids.
That's good. But well, I mean, I don't know.
Could have got some better real kid actor. I think the girl is good. I think the kid who plays, I don't remember any of their names, but the one with the big ears, he looks like me when I was younger, so maybe that's why I hate him.
Is he the middle kid or the youngest?
The oldest, the boy twin, because there's the two twins. And then the young.
I didn't even realize they were twins.
The kid with the big ears, I think, kind of sucks. And he has like a face that you always want to like believe like, oh, like we can just put like real people in movies. We don't need like these incredibly attractive, you know, just physically pleasing to look at people.
God, especially in a fucking musical.
Then whenever you put a real person in there, I do have the interaction of like, oh, I wish you had a better face in there.
Yeah. That's weird. Especially like a musical, everything's phony. Why not go all out with like, you know, like it's just, you guys got Lin-Manuel Miranda. Yeah. Fucking get the showbiz kids. I don't know. No, but back to
get Jacob Tremblay in here.
Yeah. But or just even just classically trained.
Oh yeah, there's
theater
tons
kids.
of Broadway kids. Yeah.
But no, yeah, there was really something about Nowhere to Go But Up. I think that was the pinnacle for this movie for me. It made me feel something, and I think it was just kind of Ben Whishaw and like his like small line really made me feel something. It was this weird, just bittersweet experience because like it showed me what the movie could have been, kind of. And it was such like I don't know, it was like a really great visual of just like, it's crazy, they're all floating in the sky with balloons, but like the metaphor is there and it's working, and it's like everything's kind of like all working, and it's a really great visual that didn't need to be like interacting with like 2D cartoon characters. I don't know. Or just kind of like, oh, we're underwater now. Like, it's just kind of like all that stuff seems so phony. And this was like nothing like them all floating in the sky with balloons. Nothing like that happened in the original, did it? It just seemed like such an original, like cool, beautiful idea that was executed very well with modern technology and everything. And it was, I don't know. It was just... Maybe I was also happy the movie was over. Because finally! At any point during the last hour of this movie, I was just kind of like, things are wrapped up. We could end this in 2 minutes at any point during this last hour, kind of. But yeah, no, I did. I don't know. This film also looks great. I said that already.
At times.
Yeah, that's true.
It's hard to, like, there's times where like they've created a nice set piece and they're all sort of interacting in it well, and there's a lot of attention to detail, but then like the bathtub sequence stands out to me because like they all sort of dive down, and it starts to look like a fucking like Tim and Eric skit because it's so clear that they're all on individual green screens and they're all just kind of like moving in and out, like it doesn't look real. And I know part of it is supposed to be that it's like sort of in their imagination or whatever, but it starts to take me out of it, and like
that part looked like a music video or something.
They've got like different outfits on, and none of their hair is wet, even though like in reality, that's another thing I need to get into, is like sort of the logic of this movie is like in reality, they're in the bathtub, they're just imagining that they're doing something else. But even in like their imagination, they're underwater, but they're all dry, and they're not like, there's no bubbles coming out of their like mouth or anything. Like they're just kind of just in the water being whatever. Like it just starts to, it completely takes me out of the experience, especially the green screen. The green screen's pretty bad at some points in this movie. Like I don't know how to make that work because like unless you're gonna shoot in like 24K from like a super wide angle to get all these characters in there, and make it, feel like they're all moving at different speeds and depths. It's just, I don't know. It's tough.
We have some sort of technology where this could have been better executed, I think. I don't know. Put them in a fucking tank. Let's see how that works.
I was thinking about that, and I wonder if that has to do with the age of the kids and like,
right.
I don't know, maybe they're not in like SAG or something yet, and they don't have the protections of whatever to be able to, like, because I mean that is dangerous to be like, all right, you have to hold your breath for a certain amount of time underwater so we can get this, and there might be things in their contract for kids under 18 don't have to do tank scenes or something like that.
It's not like they're not gonna like a dog's promise them or whatever. Just get underwater. And just dogs drown. They're like, bring in the next one.
It's a real kid. We don't even know to show this kid. Line out the door. Yo, N.
Casting call. You're all hired. What?
We're gonna need a lot. We're gonna burn through these kids.
Oh no.
But yeah, like the logic of this movie, like, again, I don't remember a whole lot from the first movie, but I feel like it was more like these kids were wild and rambunctious, and she was teaching them like morals and lessons, but making it fun. So they were invested in it, like spoon.
She doesn't really have to be strict with them.
You got to take your medicine. But in this movie, it's like the kids are too grown up, but she's still kind of like teaching them sort of lessons. Like it didn't make total sense. Like I think some of it is definitely like they're trying to go for. She's trying to teach them how to be kids again, but it's all like that's a weird sort of moral message. And the kids are also just kind of they're the kids. It's not. Like I don't remember any of their individual names. They aren't really separated as characters in any sort of way. Like especially the twins. The twins are just the twins, and then there's Georgie. They could have done a lot with that, but like I don't understand. I wish this movie would have taken like a concrete stance on like either like it's what she's doing is real and she's literally magic, or it's sort of a trick of your imagination and she's just this really special person. Like I felt like it never really sort of took a stance on that, and they could have done that I think more through the adults. Like the adults are clearly stuck in this like shitty adult world situation of like we're gonna lose the house, I'm trying to take care of these fucking kids and whatnot, and the kids like buy in really quickly to like the imagination stuff, but like I don't, there's so much they could have done with it. Like Georgie sees her right away. It could have been like a thing where like nobody else saw her or the things that she was doing, but then when she goes into the bathtub scene, like they're all kind of watching her throw stuff in there, and they all have this sort of like weird like, okay, like what is she doing? Like they didn't believe until they got into the bathtub, even though she's like pulling like umbrellas out of like a 2-inch like bag and like.
See, I think they did commit to this is a fantastical kind of world and she's a magical being, because like literally Ben Whishaw exclaims, like there's several scenes between him and his sister where they go, now that stuff that we did with her wasn't real, right? Like winking at the camera, and then literally like they spell it out in like the last song where he starts to go up on the balloon and he's like, everything that happened to us as children, it was real, it was real. So like I think that's clear. I think that's like this is
maybe
some like magic shit going on.
Because like when they do like the like the whole like tent sequence, like they come out and she's telling them it was a dream.
Well, I think that's part of her character, because she says that like after every psychedelic experience they have, kind of, it's just kind of like, Dad, we went in the bathtub, and then it's like, Mary Poppins, did that happen? She's like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Didn't dunk your kids in a bathtub of LSD.
Oh man, I forgot to say, I was telling you last night, or just like when I saw it on Thursday night, I was shoving Taco Bell in my face or whatever in my car shamefully so I could eat before seeing this 7 o'clock movie. I hadn't eaten since like 12, but across like in the parking lot, like diagonally across, there were kids shoving something else. These 3 kids were fucking crushing a fucking bowl, man. Like they were taking the biggest rips. They're smoking weed. They were taking the biggest rips ever. I could smell it from my car, and like my windows were closed, And so anyway, I was like, oh man, I wonder what they're gonna go see. And then I go in, I go to the bathroom, and I come out, and then I'm following them, and I follow them into Mary Poppins Returns. And I was like, oh boy, like they smoked an uncomfortable amount of weed, and now they're about to like go watch this. I was like,
I can't tell if that would be awesome or awful, because there's the one.
It could go either way.
We haven't even talked
coin flip.
We haven't even talked about the sequence with Meryl Streep, where like they go to Meryl, who is supposed to be Mary Poppins' cousin, because they need her to fix things, and they've got this whole weird, just kind of out of nowhere conceit of like, oh, on the second Wednesday of the month, my entire world turns topsy-turvy.
Right, yeah.
And like again, like the room like literally goes upside down, and they're walking on the ceiling. And
how does it apply to anything happening?
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. Like, it makes more sense in like the bathtub scene, because it's like that is sort of akin to the original, where it's like they're trying to do this thing that kids don't want to do,
right?
And she's making it fun, even though that doesn't necessarily make sense in the universe of this movie, because the kids are all grown up and they do their chores, and they don't need it to be a fun bathroom experience to go.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that the nannies watch. No, it's just, there's a certain age of the twins where you're just kind of like, do they need a bathroom, the nanny?
But yeah, like the whole Meryl Streep sequence, where it was like, oh yeah, just like that would be a weird thing to watch under the influence, I would think, where like they're changing perspectives and stuff. And
my God,
that could turn into a dark trip real quick.
I did see them in the lobby afterwards, because I was sitting near the front and they were sitting in the back. I wish I could be closer to them during this. I can also, like, I can't imagine, like, they must smell for like a fucking huge radius. Like, that's so bold.
To go into a kids movie, yeah.
Oh yeah, a kids movie too. But
because if anyone's going to tattle on you, it's going to be a mom who's got like a bunch of kids.
Oh my God, yes, I didn't even think about that. But they like looked drained in the lobby afterwards. They looked like kind of like accomplished, but also just exhausted. Like,
spending all their energy to stay awake during this movie.
Yeah. This also would have been like, if you're high, I'd like fucking fall asleep.
Another sort of weird logic thing, this is just like a minor complaint, but in like the animation sequence, which again looks fine, looks good, they like, the kids are like sort of marveling over everything,
right?
And like they're like making footsteps that sound like walking on porcelain,
right?
And then they like are looking at like the carriage, and then like the animals come out and they're talking to Mary Poppins. And the one kid, Michael's oldest male kid, is like, like, oh, like you're talking to him, but like he's marveling at the fact that she's talking to an animal, like an anthropomorphic animal, and it's like, do the kids not see what we're seeing as 2D? Like, is that just how it's represented to us?
Right,
and they're just seeing Mary Poppins talking to this like actual fucking anthropomorphic dog with real fur in like a tailored suit driving a carriage with a horse that talks. Like, the logic there got a little sort of jumbled for me.
Instead of being like, I was once a human and now I am a moving painting on a porcelain bowl. Does that not fucking... My favorite is also that entire sequence. Every single cartoon character like knows their name, and they're like, well, how do you know our name? And he's like, we've been watching you. We've been watching you in your room. We can't wait. We're so happy to meet you. We've been watching you. And it was just like, it got creepy after the fifth like person was like, we've been watching you in your rooms. Like,
yeah. I didn't like the tent sequence, or at least the end of it. I mean, I don't think the musical number is too strong, and lin-manuel raps, so I'm like signing out there already. And they're trying to do this sort of homage to like the iconic like penguin dancing sequence from the original, but like there's not a whole lot of like incredible dancing between the animated characters and the live action characters in this. It's kind of just Lin-Manuel and Emily Blunt doing their thing. It's a weird song too, that like references like nudity and stuff like that. Which also like brought up to my like, Mary Poppins fucks, right? Like,
Dude,
she's got this like.
I thought Ben Whishaw was gonna fuck Mary Poppins.
Dude, I was thinking about that. I was like, there's something definitely weird about like she didn't age a bit, and like his wife dies a year ago, and then we're at the point where we got to start giving ratings if we got to follow our schedule. But like, yeah, his wife dies like a year ago, and now his nanny from his childhood comes back, who used to be this like beautiful woman, and she still looks exactly the same. Like, you tell me like Ben Whishaw is not gonna be like Mary Poppins. Like,
I mean,
I'm grown now.
That makes
and you haven't aged a day.
That makes more sense than trying to smash his fucking sister and Lin-Manuel like into a relationship that they're really fucking like shipping near the end, man. It's kind of like, don't you let go of that girl, I won't, sir. Or just like, and like literally their whole relationship is just based on like, I used to look at you in your window at night, and she's like, oh cool. He's like, when you were a kid.
And she's like, I help the poor, and he's like, I'm poor. I do like, just to kind of get our like last thoughts in here, like there's parts of this script that like I think really work, but they're just surrounded by so many parts that don't work. Like I said at the beginning of this episode, I do think that the sort of trying to find the shares thing, like if you really boil it down, yeah, it is literally them looking for this piece of paper. But I think the way that it's hidden is kind of nice, where it is in this sort of magical item that they have, this like kite that actually brings Mary Poppins back, and it's sort of like her whole purpose. And
fucking Ben Whishaw like fucking doodling on the back of the most important paper of his life. It's just kind of like if I went to the airport and I'm like traveling abroad and be like, can I see your passport? I'm like, yeah, but I drew my whole family all over it. Like, okay, what the fuck? Well, we can't let you fly. Don't worry, Daddy. I know I've got several $1,000s worth of shares, but I'm going to draw on it.
I'm with you on that part specifically. But like the whole, I think the way the climax of this movie works is actually like, that's where I felt touched, because I didn't have the feeling that you felt during the final musical number.
Okay.
That's where I was like, okay, we need to end this fucking movie. Why are we going back to like a big, bright, happy thing? It felt weird because the whole entirety of the movie before was about sort of like class relations and poverty,
right,
and money, and then it's just kind of like, oh well, we found Daddy's inheritance and we're fine now. We're gonna wear these fine tailored, like,
oh my gosh, yeah,
barbershop quartet type suits, and we're just gonna like float away into the sky and it'll be fine. Like I wanted a better message about money after that, like they gave their money to the poor or something like that. Like, you know, we just wanted the house back. That's all we need is each other. Something like that. I think they were set up for that with Emily Mortimer's character being this person fighting for workers' rights rather than, oh, we can all buy nice clothes and go, you know, spend money on candy and whatever we want at the park, and money's not an issue, so we're happy now. Like, that's a weird message.
It was also weird that, like, he was 3 months behind on rent, and he was like, oh, let me just write you a check. I've just been forgetting all these months. I was like, motherfucker, you deserve to have your house taken away. Like, just have him.
Let me just say that his wife used to handle
the finances.
You know, she's been doing it for, you know, at least 10 years or something at this point. You know.
Like, I just rather them. I like the theme of him mismanaging money, kind of like, this isn't enough money to buy groceries. We're going to have to be street smart like Mom was, instead of just him being like, oh, doy.
Well, it's definitely part of it, because like she was the breadwinner, it sounds like, and he was an artist, and now that she's gone, he's got to take this job that he doesn't really like, and he says it's only like a part-time position too, and like it's a big fucking nice kind of house. I'm sure it's pretty expensive. Well, but in like the climax of the movie, like if you go back to like the tent sequence, like when stuff's like happening in that animated sort of chase scene at the end of that, like I didn't feel any concern, because I was like, well, it's just happening in a porcelain bowl. Like,
right.
And she says it's a dream afterwards. And they all just kind of like wake up from it. Like, there was never any real danger. But then like in the actual climax of this movie, where they've got like this, you know, stroke of midnight to get the papers to, which is like, it's just a great classic screenwriting device of, here's the deadline, there's high stakes, and you've got someone who, you know, is willing to like lock the door so you can't get in, and they've only got 7 minutes left, and it all sort of comes together nicely, where the stakes are real, and that's where it felt like, oh, Mary Poppins magic was actually real, because like she does this real thing of like, they're trying to climb up to Big Ben, but they can't reach it. So she literally flies up with her umbrella and is able to turn it back. Like, that felt like a magical moment.
Definitely, right.
It felt akin to, like, I thought her reveal in the movie was really special.
Yes,
like, the score was actually working. Like, even watching the trailer, I was kind of like, man, maybe the hype is real about this movie. Like, because I feel something as someone who's not even a fan of Mary Poppins, watching her like float down. It's just iconic and it works.
Oh, definitely.
But I thought like the climax, everything came together nice because like you have that weird thing with like the admiral who fires the cannon 5 minutes late, and
that worked out nicely.
They pushed the clock back 5 minutes, and it was really sweet. Like everyone in my theater, when he was like, "Oh, they finally got it right," everyone was just literally like, "Aw." Like, it was a cute moment. It was nice to have something that sort of all came together like that. So again, there are really nice moments to this movie, but the songs are not memorable. They're not classic. They feel unearned and undeserved, and they just kind of come out of nowhere. They feel like they're wasting time. I feel like I'm falling asleep during them.
Yeah.
And you have some good performances, but then you also have some weak performances as well. So yeah, I guess we can sort of get into ratings. That's pretty much my final thoughts.
Okay.
On the movie altogether. I'll give my rating, then I'll give the Rotten Tomatoes, and then you can give yours. I'm going to give it 2.5. I'm just going to go down the middle.
All right.
There's some things I really enjoyed, some things I really, really hated about this movie. So I'll split the baby. On review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds an approval rating of 77% based on 230 reviews with an average rating of 7.3 out of 10. The website's critical consensus reads, Mary Poppins Returns relies on the magic of its classic forebear to cast a familiar but still solidly effective family-friendly spell. Sure, Jan.
But yeah, and no, another thing, I forget exactly what I called it, but I mean, I am kind of looking at this through, gold-colored glasses, just because, I mean, if you are watching Mike's video series, only found on our YouTube, check it out, Goldfingers, you'll know that Mary Poppins is probably going to be Best Picture. I mean, it's up for Best Picture, essentially, at the Golden Globes. I don't know, I think it's easy to be harsh on it when you know this is going to be hailed as a Best Picture of the year, kind of. I don't think I missed much. I think I put everything out. I did like Colin Firth kind of like playing a heavy, and the entire time, like, there's not a lot of things to compare this movie to, especially because like kids movies are almost just split now into just like Pixar or like Minions. But listening to Ben Whishaw the entire time, he's the voice of Paddington, and he's really fantastic. And that's like kind of the only kids movie that has come out recently that I can really like compare this to, just because it doesn't fall into those two categories I said before. And Paddington is like this really weird, fucking truly misshapen like British movie, and that somehow creates like this really abnormal but just like great movie that's just great. There's no slickness, there's no kind of references, there's no like winks to the parents kind of. It's just fucking out there, and it really works, and it's a really good movie. And it's British, and I think that's just which this movie is not. This is an American director, American company. Some American actors, they do great casting in this movie of British actors or whatever. I don't know. I don't know where I wanted to end with that. Paddington's great. If honestly, I would say don't go see this movie. You got two Paddingtons. One came out this year. And I think that was it. I don't know. So there were just so many cliches in this too. I just like kept laughing. Like I already brought it up, like the like emotional scene he has with his kids, where it's just kind of like, the kids have been teaching me this whole time. Like that's just one of the biggest cliches. It reminds me of like the Clark and Michael like bit where Clark Duke has
he
like
thinks he's teaching the kids, but the kids are actually teaching him.
Yeah, he has like this like other like secret project that he's writing, like something.
DA Dad.
Yes, DA Dad. What is that? Or he's just like, he's a district attorney, but he's also got these 3 foster kids. He's like, and it's the genius of it, the complexity of it. It's like he thinks he's teaching these kids, but really the kids are teaching him. And that's what nobody realizes about it yet, at least anyone that I've pitched it to.
We're talking about Clark and Michael.
Yes.
It's like a YouTube web series with Michael Cera and Clark Duke.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I hate how much little attention that has ever gotten.
What are you so mad about, Dad? All right, let's pause it real quick, and then I'm going to let these boys in.
All right.
But yeah, so I think what I just wanted to say was that I'm going to give it a 2.
2. All
2
right.
fingers.
So 2 and 2.5 come to 2.25. Obviously, we'll round down to a 2 overall for Mary Poppins Returns, Disney Acid Trip 2. Yes, that's about all. We really are just like wrapping this episode up in like 30 seconds. Yeah, so check out. We got a review of Roma next week. Is that what we're releasing that over?
I think it.
No, The Favorite next week with Scout Tafoya returning back, and Roma the week after that with some boys from Seagulls who are on our couch right now. Check out Goldfingers on YouTube, the data-driven Oscar prediction video series that we've been jawing your ears off about for the past couple of weeks. I'm hoping that the 3rd episode will be out by the time this comes out, but we'll see. We had some technical difficulties this week. And we posted about it on Facebook, but we're on Spotify now, so you can definitely follow us on there. It's like the 2nd biggest podcasting platform, and now we're finally on there. So if that's where you consume your podcast, definitely give us a follow there, and you can start downloading and listening to our episodes there. All right. That's it.
Yeah, that's about it.
Signing out for How Many Fingers the Podcast. I'm Mike.
I'm Joe.
We'll see you guys next week.